Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Mike with smartoptiontrading.com. So I thought I'd come live here as the actions kind of changed here a little bit, especially in the last hour or so. And we're getting some weakness creeping into the market. So if you guys come and join me, you can watch me. We can see how this plays out. So for those who are going to watch it on replay, you can come in. So we started off strong today and we gapped right up and we went right into resistance. And what I mean by that, we gapped down, sorry, then we ramped up right into resistance. And I called out this morning. So, for people who are not in my service, every morning I do a morning video talking about the day's action and what I'm looking for and what I expect. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I see everybody coming in. So this morning, before the market opened, I put out a video around 8 o'clock, and I said today the grudge match on the SPY, the area of concern was going to be this 50-day. All right, and we came right into it, pushed a little above it, now pull back off of it, and we're back roughly to where we opened here. And this is the area that if the bears are going to make a stand, if they're going to have a growl, this is the good area to do it. From here to this candle into the 8-day, right? These are the areas you need to be aware of. Just put in your mind, if you're watching this, you should put this on your charts, right? You should have it there. Look at it all the time. So, we've seen that the Qs, by the way, which had been the stronger name during this sell-off, is now the one that came in fastest today, already below where we opened, right? SPY is still above. We're already below it here on the Qs. So we're seeing a little bit of reversal and stuff going on here, just a little bit interesting at this point. Volatility is spiking a little bit, all right? So if you're feeling aggressive, you can try UVXY or one of these VIX products for a scalp. I'd be very, very careful holding any of these overnight with what's been going on in that area. So you can see this, right? We're getting a little bit of a spike back here. And this is not a bad thing, guys. And I want to say this, that we don't, we've gotten used to these V bounces. The longer the market chills out here and, works itself out, you'll see them come in, let the volatility die a little bit, give us some trades back and forth, and then we'll get that nice swing trades. You don't want this thing just to ramp up and re-engulf everything. That type of action, I think, is just tough. It's tough to play, and it just wears everybody out. Chris, nice. Very, very nice. Yep, I was just looking at UVXY as we were coming in here. I was going to grab some, but I decided to go live. So, there are things to do here right now, right? Oil's getting killed off the numbers this morning, the API numbers. Oil's gotten just killed here, and this is taking the energy space with it, right? So we can see CL is getting beaten up here, and we look at this, and there's crude, the energy getting space, beat up again, all the way back down. Salman, yes, I view this as constructive so far. I view this as definitely as constructive action so far. A little back and fill down here is not a bad thing, but it means don't be in a rush to put on long-term positions yet, right? Don't go chasing everything. Keep your stops tight for now. Last night on Analyze Your Trade, I told you I like the energy trade here. Off that 200-day, I'm going to buy some shares. I may not buy a lot, but I'm going to buy some and put it away and then start adding to it if we go lower at that point. Long-term position, not a scalp type trade, right? Makes sense. What else here should we be looking at? There's some OSTK today. It was one of those trades. So I was talking to somebody in my service, and they got stopped out of a trade on Twitter. I'm like, listen, getting stopped out and making some money is okay, right? You don't want to do this, not put a stop in place, have a ramp up like this and get taken out, and then now you're red going into a market like this and a name that you may or may not want to be in long term other than a scalp. So, right? So you can be careful like that. So I wanted to bring that up, that we got a big roll over here on this name here today, topping type candle against the 8-day. What else is this thing? What's Breath doing? Breath here is slowly coming in. It was okay all day. It's coming in now. Guys, any questions you guys have, anything you want to talk about, bring it up here. I have some time. Not seeing a ton of put action yet coming into this. Yet, WFT, Jan 350 puts, 3.50. This is a small name. Swept 92K, nothing big. Well, 90K as I'm looking at it. Weatherford. So, things to do. Baidu hasn't had earnings yet, right? Last I knew, Baidu has not had earnings. They're coming. It looks horrible here. For me, Jordan, it's a no touch right now until after earnings. There's no reason for me to play this until after earnings, Jordan. So I'm not even looking at it. It's not on my radar right now. If you're in it, the 200-day held here was a hold again. If you're playing it for earnings, that's all on you. I don't play earnings. That's just how I trade. Um, I will be holding some options into earnings on Twitter, but they're for a buyout. They're June 35, so I don't consider them an earnings play. Vinit, welcome. How are you? Apple is just not acting special today, guys. A couple people have asked me about this. It's breaking through where I needed. To me, it needed to hold right here. This 161.50 area where it broke above yesterday, right on there. Now it's falling below it. Not acting special, but here it is. It's coming back on the 200-day here. If it can hold here, this is a nice buy off the 200-day. Nice something to look at. Keep an eye on. Keep in mind, it goes ex-divvy on Friday. That means if you're in options going into Friday morning, you're going to have 63 cents taken out, right? 63 cents of the dividends going to come out of the stock. That'll come out of the options as well. So just realize that. Micron. Micron, that day yesterday was gorgeous. No follow through today. At the moment, I could say it's an inside day, right? It's an inside day so far. What I don't like is this 50-day through here has been resistance, right? Since we broke it here on this big day, fail, 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 fail. Not quite. Fail, fail. Yesterday was the first day we closed above it, and now we're back below it here, Vinit. So, it's just trading sloppy ahead of NVIDIA earnings tomorrow night, right? Tomorrow night's NVIDIA. Tonight we have Tesla. Tesla comes out tonight. So a lot of action here. And this could be nothing, guys. This could just be trying to shake everybody loose, right? A little back and fill. They got some bears, some shorts to cover up here. Maybe now they're trying to come back and squeeze some longs out and get them out of the market here. You know how they love to play games with this in the market. So I'm not getting overly concerned. WFT, a little bit more coming in, more than a little bit. Jan 350 puts again, 3.50 puts. This one's another sweeper, another 150K of it. So let's take a look at it. Yeah, ugly. Weatherford, ugly, ugly, ugly. Long-term protection there. XNet, yep, XNet looks like it's trying. It's got a hold here. They raised guidance hues in it. They really did. It's just waiting at this turn. It has to hold. The one thing I will point out is we saw a nice bounce attempt in Bitcoin here. This is a big spot for it. The 8-day has become resistance on this move here, right? So since, we started trading the futures and we came below the 8-day, you can see it's just been riding the 8-day down. Can it get above here on this? Right? Because Bitcoin, if it goes up, it's going to grab all these blockchain names and pull them with it. That's why I'm pulling it up in it. Right? So if we see a big run again in the cryptos, you're going to see the blockchains really want to go with it. Walmart was up last I saw. That's still up today. You have earnings coming. I'm not in it. Jordan looks good still here. Back here in this area, it had a nice little pullback. This thing doesn't move fast most of the time, so you got 2 nice days of movement out of it. I'd wait until after earnings before I entered at this point, unless you're just taking a day trade. For me, it goes into, you can do an overnight. You got 2 weeks yet. But see how it handles this area. If the markets don't get going, I don't know that Walmart's going to buck the trend of the market. So that's what I would say on that. What else today? Some of the flow today. Gilead had earnings. We saw a big flow into the March 85 calls up here, right? Big flow into the March 85s. Something we'll take a look at in our service in the next couple of days or so as things come around. I think there was almost 15,000 of those traded last I saw. 17,000 now on the day traded. Now, that doesn't mean they're all going to stick to open interest, guys. That just means that 17,000 of these were traded today. So we'll have to see how this plays out. Okay? We'll see an open interest on that one tomorrow. Intel, you said. Sure, we can look at Intel. Intel, like the rest of the semis is kind of waiting here. So if NVIDIA is good, maybe it runs back up. It didn't hold. This earnings, which looked good, was not as strong as we thought. Came down, filled the gap, coming off the 100-day and back into the 821-day area. So if the markets are strong, sure, why not? This is a name they've liked and they've come back to a bunch of times. So why wouldn't they come back here again at this point? The other thing I would point out is the semi ETF, which is SMH. We've seen a ton of bear puts, big put blocks into this thing. Today we caught a big call block, the 101s. The 101s were the March ones. Hey, look at that. I have them right on my screen. It's amazing how that happens. There you go. So big, first time in a long time, we saw any kind of big activity into the semis from the call side, from a bullish perspective. So let's just talk about this a little bit and work through this. I'm going to bring up the ES here for a reason. So I went over this in the service this morning, and I want to talk to you guys. When we now start looking at the markets here, right, this is your resistance spot. And pretty soon the 8 days is going to come down and it's going to get in there with it, right? And it's going to create a little bit more. And you have support right pretty much the bottom of these candles in the 100-day, all kind of close together here. Yeah, somebody's typed, my friend Katie's typed to me that CNBC is fear-mongering. They are. They are definitely fear-mongering right now. Just turn them off, ignore them. So this is an area that should be of strong support on the ES, which equates to basically the same space on the SPY, the 100-day. And then the 200-day. And the reason we're using the ES here, guys, is because this low came in the after hours of the market, on the futures market. This is something to keep your eye on. So it equates to the SPY very well. So when we look at the SPY, and I'm going to pull the SPY back up here. Don't lose you. It doesn't show the candle going all the way to the 200-day because it was in the it was in the overnight hours. But if we were going to retest the lows, the 200-day would be the place to look for to retest. My hope is that we come in and we test this area around the 100-day and we get a bounce off of there, and then maybe we could start swinging long off of that. That would be a very, very nice setup if we can get it. So for what's worth, a little bit of activity coming in on the XLB, the weekly 59.50 puts, just weekly. So that's good. Block of them looks like about, let's call it 80K, give or take. So, short-term weakness, good. Long-term, big protective bets we don't want to see. Yep, there comes your whack. What's the VIX doing here? VIX. Nope, not the XIV, the VIX. Dumb cough. There we go. Okay, a little spiking. Now, I pointed this out as well, guys. The 50, this area is probably about as high as we're going to go on the VIX if we go back up and retest it. So don't be looking for it to really go over here without an event. You need events usually to generate more than that. Yum puts coming in on Yum here. But guys, you guys are getting a taste of what I do here all day long in the service. Weekly 80s. They have earnings? Yeah, they have earnings. They have the earnings. Never mind. This is useless flow. Earnings bet. Doesn't help us. Okay. Just, Jordan, don't let them get away from you. All right. Dave, I have a little bit of GS. I have a little bit of the March 280 calls. They got briefly green today, then the IV dropped and they went red again, and now they're red again. And I'm trying to stick a little bit with it here because I think if anything's going to be strong, I think it's going to be the banks, Dave. And the reason is if they're talking four interest rate hikes now at this point. So if we're going to get that, I think we can see something here, some big pops in there. I'm trying to stick a little bit, and I'm actually looking at buying some more. Chris, I'm glad you're making money, buddy. I love hearing that. The other thing is to keep an eye on is this. I'm still long my TBT. Look at this rocketing here again. Okay. I do think that this is just the beginning of this move and that we're going to go eventually much higher. And the reason I think that is because, you look at TLT and this long, long, long uptrend is getting violated. Do you see what I'm talking about? From all the way back, even off further. I mean, this long, 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 many year, this is a 5-year weekly, has been violated. All right. When we bring it in here, you see now it's breaking below it. Let's go back to a daily chart on a 1 year. You can see it. It's violating it. It tried to retake it and it failed. It couldn't do it. And it's rolling over now and riding the 8-day down. So I think, the inverse of TLT is TBT. This is why I'm in it. So I think this one is going to just keep going at this point. Next stop is up here. Next stop is up around this 39.30 to 40 area. It doesn't mean we shoot right up to it, but that's just what you need to be looking at if you're playing this. I'm showing you some of these things, guys, because every day I try to look for setups and point out different things, and I spend time looking around the market. Yep, Chris, on stock charts, it may look different due to dividends. Exactly. But I try to look at different things and give you different ideas. So I'm giving you a taste of what I do and what I'm seeing. So for today, guys, I've made one trade. I traded cat calls, and I got out. And I got out for one very good reason. I looked at him and I said, why am I in him? And I like cat. I like cat a lot here. I think cat looks great here, right? But I looked at the calls and I said to myself, are these going to work? And I said, I don't know. So I followed these calls. There's a lot of flow into the March 175 calls, and I paid 65 cents. And I was quickly up $100 within, as the IV, a little bit of IG jump on them. And then when I started looking at them, I looked at it and said, you know what? There's no delta here. And what's going to happen if we really start to rally right now? I know people in my service know because I've been beating them over a dead horse with it. But how about some of you people who may not be in there? What's going to happen in here to these two options at this point? Anybody? All right, Chris, go ahead. You could type it out. So what's going to happen is the IV is going to come crashing down as the VIX comes down if we really rally. And this is not enough delta to offset what's going to happen quickly on these, Wayne. That's right, Wayne. They're not going to. This is going to offset. So this will work if we get a big move in cat. But if we don't get that huge move, this is not going to work. You're going to end up getting beaten up on it. You got it, Dave, right? IV's going to get crushed. So I took it off flat, and I took it off flat because I looked at it and I said, this is just not a good bet. So I'll revisit this, and I'll probably look at March somewhere like the 160s or closer to the money on these. And I'm telling you this, guys, because I always try to teach in my service too. We go through this every night. We have a subscriber webinar every Thursday night at 6 o'clock. But every day I'm trying to teach you guys. Oh, if the IV spikes, Jordan, if the IV spikes, it'll go up. So like yesterday, I know people were telling me they were in SPY and they sold in SPY. They sold their calls and the SPY dropped $2. So I'll show you when they did this. Okay, so right here, here's your VIX, right? So if we go back to yesterday, we try to line this up a little bit. Okay, they sold their calls up in here, right, in the top, and the VIX was down in this area, right? So we can see the correlation here between the two. So what happened is they sold it, and then the SPY dropped $2, right? See that big drop down here? And their calls were up 50% higher than where they sold them. That IV increase was worth so much more than the price of the options drop. Do you see how that works? I mean, that gives you an example of how much that can work there. So you can see some big moves on stuff like that. For the love of God, avoid XIV, right? Credit Suisse is announced that they're killing the product next week. Do not even think about taking anything on this. SVX, is it SUVXY? SU, SVXY. Come on. I have my symbols off. Yeah. This one is, they said, is not going away, but I'd be very careful taking any trades on these inverse VIX trades as well. If you're going to trade all these ETNs, right, these leverage ETFs, be careful. Trade them, day trade them. Don't hold them overnight right now, just in case they decide to go playing with something else. All right. So I hope this helps you guys. I hope this gives you an idea of what I do. Guys, if you're very interested in what I do and do it on a daily basis, and you'd like a very inexpensive way of getting to know me and spending some time with me and everybody, you can join me here at smartoptiontrading.com. Click out Find Out More and on Real-Time Option Flow. And, right now by default, $25 first 30 days, renews at 100 if you stay with it. $25 for the first month. You get the morning setup video every day. You get the nightly recap video every day where we talk about the flow and what I like and what's swingable. Both of those alone are probably worth the $100. On top of that, I call all the real-time option flow, the news events I put up in there that are actionable, right? So I post news very quick from my news service there so you guys can play it as well. And I call out what trades I have. So you get all that and the weekly mentoring webinar. $25 for a month. Would love to have you guys try me out at smartoptiontrading.com. If you're not following me, I would recommend you guys all follow me at Options Mike on Twitter, just so you can get all the free stuff I put out there. Lots. Jordan, it's all real time. Everything is real time. Everything, all the alerts, everything comes out real time on the Twitter feed. So here. So here's what my live Twitter feed looks like today. So lots of alerts, everything real time, as it comes out, as it happens, right? So it's all right there. All right, guys, I'm going to go back to paying a little bit closer attention to the markets here to see if I can't find a scalp or a trade in some direction. I alert as I go in, Jordan, and as I exit. Every time I go in to a position, I put a hashtag add. If I leave one, I put hashtag out and everything, the price is on it. Let me show you an example. And let's see, it's an easy way to do this. Hang tight. And then I have for trims and longs, I use them both as well. Every Friday, I update all my open positions and all the trades I did for the week so you guys can see it. So, for example, in the search, here's Twitter. So yesterday, you can see here was an exit. I got stopped out when I entered in with Common yesterday from 25.23 to 25.31 when it pulled. Yep, you'll see everything. I put my exit entrances, what I got filled at, and when I got out at, Jordan. Also, every night in the video, I tell you what I still think is swingable and I like moving forward. Video recap is usually just at the end of the day, in the last 40 minutes or so of the day. I miss trades, guys, and I don't say this because I'm trying to look for anything. I miss trades because I post stuff before I do it. I post you guys the option flow in the news before I take the trade. So, after I get that to you, I have to go back and relook. And sometimes I don't get in as quick. And that's okay. I do this because, by the way, IBM puts coming in here. IBM March 135 puts. They've been hitting on this thing for the last 3 days. Swept. It's called 65K. I do, Jordan. We go over good picks on that webinar. I always take on the webinars I do every Thursday night for subscribers. You guys always can email me or message me on direct Twitter and talk about things you want to look at. And we have gone over all the stuff you're talking about, and we'll continue to go over it when anybody ever wants to go over it. And to me, Gordon, I'm the type of guy that if you're struggling, I'll pull up a webinar and we'll go over something one-on-one and spend an hour with you trying to help you out. That's just who I am. So if you ever stuff like that, everybody knows that I've done that for multiple people in the service, and that's just how you doing. Yep. I do that every day, by the way. I diagnose my trades and I give everything in it, and I do explain everything like I just explained it there. My goal is to get you guys all able to do what I do and trade. So if you're interested, smartoptiontrading.com. The link's in the description of the video, but I'll put it here for you. And it's $25 for the first month. Love to have you on board. If I spelt it right. I did not spell it right because I am a horrible speller. There you go. Sorry about that. And we go from there. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for hopping on board with me today. Thanks for listening to me. And everybody be safe. Listen, there's going to be a good time to swing in this market soon. Just wait for the better signal, because right now, today, this is not the signal yet. This is really just not it. So just be patient. And I know it's hard, but be patient. Thanks, guys. I will catch you guys all in a little bit.